What's up, my comic comrades? There's no better way to continue Villains Month than with vampires, and it just so happens that vampires are currently overrunning the DC universe in the DC vs. Vampires 12-issue miniseries. We've already covered the first 6 issues, which you could check out right here, and today we're going to be breaking down issues 7 through 9. However, here's a little recap of the previous issue before we move forward. With that said, spoilers incoming. Last we left off, Dick Grayson was revealed to be the king of the vampires, having killed Batman and several other members of the Bat family. And he turned Damian Wayne into a vampire. Even Superman was turned into a vampire, as we see the vampires take over the world, having some of the world's most powerful heroes now on their side. So let's not waste any time and jump right into the next several issues. Issue 7 starts off with a narration telling us how the vampires took over the world, saying, "It all happened so fast. As the infection spread, our heroes turned on each other and fell one by one. Our leaders, our protectors, anyone who tried to stop the coming plague was killed as a warning to the rest of us not to resist. We don't listen." As we see Wonder Woman and Green Lantern tell Superman to rise and be reborn now as a vampire. Batman's body hangs in Gotham as a warning while we see heroes try to fight off the vampires in Metropolis. Captions continue to say, "But it was too late. Those who fought fell. Those who ran were hunted down. After the big battle ended, they burned the forests, the jungles, the crops. We starved and choked on smoke while the whole world was plunged into constant darkness. The planet was theirs." After this, we see a caravan with several non-infected characters such as Adam Strange, Wild Dog, Mr. Bones, Negative Man, Peacemaker, Killer Frost, Raven, and Crazy Quilt. But they are brought to a stop when flaming cars block the road. So of course they get out to move the cars, but when they do, Strange spots a snake. Peacemaker is all like, "There is no snakes out here, dude." But sure enough, there was, as we see Plastic Man took the form of one who just so happens to be one of the vampires, telling us the vampires are here and about to wreck shop. Wild Dog starts firing at Plastic Man while Adam Strange is taken out by an infected Hawkgirl. Mr. Bones then says, "Strange is down, protect the vehicles, it's an ambush." At which point Vampire Wonder Woman shows up saying, "I prefer to think of it as a little light housekeeping." Hello boys, as they start firing to her at no avail, Firestorm and Heatwave shows up. It's at this point the heroes now turned vampires start killing people left and right. Plastic Man kills Crazy Quilt, Wonder Woman kills Peacemaker by punching a hole straight through his chest, Plastic Man infects Raven by biting her on the neck, who was also about to take on Wonder Woman. And as Firestorm is about to kill Mr. Bones, Jaina from the Wonder Twin shows up and impales Firestorm from behind, causing a nuclear explosion. It gets rid of the vampires for now, but not permanently, at which point Jaina walks over to Mr. Bones, who is only a skull and vertebrae now, then picks him up, and then he implores her to go to the first armored car. She does, and when they're both in the car, she explains to him how she's been wandering alone this whole time and how she lost her brother. He has her go to a secret location, but when they arrive, he dies. Which is unfortunate because she doesn't know the password to get in. She then spots Killer Croc popping his head out of the murky water in front of her, asking for a password. But she says she doesn't know that Mr. Bones told her to come here, but never gave her one. Croc says, "You should have said that," at which point Adam comes out saying, "Jaina, where is everyone?" She tells him they were killed in an ambush. Adam then says, "What about Director Bones?" Damn it. John swore that he put a protection spell on him, that nothing short of a nuclear blast would be able to hurt him before he finished the mission. Jaina responds, "It almost worked. I killed Firestorm and he exploded. Mr. Bones survived long enough to get me here." Adam says, "Wait, did he actually pull it off? Is she here?" He then runs to the car, opens the trunk, and reveals Supergirl has been in the back of the trunk the whole time. Which clearly pisses off Jaina. She says, "She was in there this whole time?" Adam tells her that whole mission was a cover to get her to us after Nightlight fell. Jaina is pissed, telling Supergirl, "You could have fought. They all were killed trying to protect you." But Killer Croc says, "Back off, kid. Why don't you get your head out of your butt and look up?" Adam then says, "No son, no Supergirl. She's just Kara." Jaina asks, "Why go through all the trouble if she can't fight?" No offense. Adam tells her because she's more than just a heavy hitter. She's a symbol. Also, if you're wondering, there's no sun because the vampires made sure to block it out. Adam then says, "Now let's get you both in the city. Waylon, we good?" He replies, "We're good," as he opens up a bottle, shrinking Adam, Supergirl, and Jaina down into what we find out is the last Kryptonian city, Kandor. And Croc is the one in charge of holding it, guarding it in the swampy water. As Adam shows Supergirl around Kandor, we learn that a bunch of non-infected heroes are taking refuge there as they devise a plan of attack. We see heroes like Batgirl, Black Canary, Steel, Dr. Fate, John Constantine, Green Arrow, Big Barda, and even a villain, Black Manta. As Supergirl walks in, Green Arrow almost instantly gets into an argument with Constantine and Batgirl, as he wants them to free humans who have been trapped in massive human farms for the vampires to feed on in Smallville. Batgirl tells Green Arrow, "We have to save the most people by taking out their leadership, not freeing a few people from cages." Dr. Fate then backs her up, saying our priority needs to be clearing up the ash clouds from the air. We do that, we get a tactical advantage back over them. And our best bet for that is in Australia. You see, they need the sun back because vampires can't survive in sunlight. Fate goes on to say, we don't know what they're doing or why, but they're sending people to space. We need to be there. Barda asks why. Supergirl says, the sun. If I can get up there and recharge, I can clear the smoke from the skies. I can get us our daylight back, which will obviously be a huge help as it'll force the vampires into hiding and burn the ones that can't get to hiding. As everyone is arguing, Batgirl tells them to shut up and says, I'm going to Gotham to kill Dick Grayson, because as we know, he's the leader of the vampires. Black Canary says, Barbara, I love you, but you can't do that. You won't get within a mile of them. Nobody has gotten into Gotham in months. Constantine then says, not exactly true, love, telling us about a poor soul who got out of Gotham after it fell. She could probably tell you how it's done. Only she's working with some nasty chaps on a little project. And they're not exactly sharing types, as we see the person he's talking about is Harley Quinn, who's being experimented on by Hugo Strange, Professor Pig, and the Thinker. And on the final page of the issue, we get a shot of a captured Harley Quinn saying, when I get out of these chains, I'm personally going to beat each of your big brains in. Well, that's a solid way to close out issue 7. And speaking of brains, who isn't trying to keep that brain carpet intact these days? I mean, 2 out of 3 guys experience some form of hair loss by the time they reach 35. Vampires clearly don't have this problem. Sure, there's the whole blood drinking, killing people thing, but they really do have a great head of hair. But not all of us can have the undead's perfect due. Thankfully, Keeps has helped hundreds of thousands of guys keep their manes intact by offering clinically proven and personalized treatment plans at an affordable price. You start by talking to one of their licensed physicians without having to visit a doctor's office, and they will help you choose the products and treatments that will work best for you. Then to make it even easier, you'll skip the lines at the pharmacy with your treatment being delivered right to your front door every 3 months. The sooner you start with Keeps, the sooner you'll start to see results, so stop putting it off. Keeps will have your back throughout the process with 24/7 access to their network of expert medical advisors, prescribers, and care specialists who will answer whatever questions you might have along the way, because hair loss stops with Keeps. Just head over to keeps.com/variant comics and get on the road to Hairtopia by setting a time to talk with one of Keeps' licensed doctors online. And when you sign up with our link, you'll get 50% off your first order. Again, that's keeps.com/variant comics, or click our link in the description to get started with Keeps now. This brings us to issue 8, which starts off with John Constantine bringing Damian Wayne to the House of Mystery. Now, if you remember in DC vs. Vampires issue 6, Damian Wayne got bitten and was turned into a vampire by Grayson. However, we found out in the DC vs. Vampires Hunters one-shot that even though Damian is now a vampire, he's working and fighting alongside humanity. He even tried to take down the Vampire King Nightwing in the Hunters one-shot, but failed. We see that Constantine has taken Damian to the House of Mystery to show him that the DC Universe's greatest sorcerers and magic users are working together to try to find a cure once someone has been bitten. Unfortunately, however, it's not really going so well. We are then taken back to Kandor, where Black Canary overhears a conversation of Green Arrow and Constantine, finding out that Green Arrow is planning on going to Smallville all by himself to free as many people from the blood farms the vampires have. Canary, disappointed, tells Oliver, so you'll come with me to Gotham? We lost so much, we can't lose each other. But he tells her, they've got blood farms, Dinah. Humans kept in cages to feed on. I can't let that go. You can't ask me to. So I'm asking one more time. Come with me. You know I shoot straight with you by my side. But she says no, saying we've been over this 1,000 times. I didn't come here now to argue with you. Back at the House of Mystery, Phantom Stranger tells Dr. Fate we are trying to reverse a process that we don't understand. Our efforts would be better served trying to change the course of, but before he could finish his sentence, there's a knock at the door as we see it's Jason Blood with several friends such as Raven, Enchantress, and more. After this, we see Batgirl having a dream of being seduced and bitten by her former love, Dick Grayson. She then wakes up from this nightmare with stakes in her hand. And as she turns on the light, she sees a burnt Constantine in the corner of the room who doesn't know how he got there or why he's burnt. She asks what she can do to help, but he just tells her, go to Gotham. Make him pay for what he's taken from us. Go to Gotham and kill the bastard. On the next page, we see that Batgirl has made her way to where Harley Quinn is being held captive. Telling Thinker, Professor Pig, and Hugo Strange, Constantine sent me. Thinker replies, I don't believe you. She says, I don't care. You monsters had your fun. I'm taking her. At which point, their enforcer, Frankenstein, starts attacking Batgirl. Hugo Strange then tells Batgirl as she's fighting Frankenstein that Harley Quinn's blood is fatal to those afflicted with vampirism. She could be the key to winning this war. We need her. Batgirl then says, I need her too, and I'm not going to torture her. If you're wondering why Harley Quinn's blood holds the key to curing people from vampirism, in the spin-off one-shot DC vs. Vampire Killers, we see Jim Gordon give Harley the last sample of Luthor's blood. Why is that relevant? Because all the way back at the beginning of this series, we find out that there's something in Luthor's blood that kills vampires. But he died and there's only one sample left in Harley Quinn's possession. Jim gives it to Harley Quinn so she can get it out of Gotham. But along the way, a bunch of vampires and villains try to stop her, ultimately forcing her to inject it into her own blood, meaning the cure now resides in Harley Quinn's blood. Up to speed? Agreed? Good. Anyway, Batgirl is able to convince Frankenstein that what they're doing is wrong, at which point Harley Quinn is able to break free, and then she stomps Hugo's brains in. A promise is a promise. Long story short, after Harley is free, Batgirl, Black Canary, Harley, and Frankenstein become the new birds of prey, so to speak, as Harley is going to help them get into Gotham undetected. Meanwhile, we see Steel, Black Manta, and Supergirl at sea making their way to Australia, but are attacked by Atlanteans, while simultaneously Green Arrow is making his way to Smallville to free humans from the Blood Farm, and with that, we're brought to issue 9. Issue 9 starts off with Green Arrow attacking a vampire blood farm in Smallville, literally blowing it up, sending a message to Grayson and the rest of the vampires. Back at sea, we see that Steel, Black Manta, and Supergirl have beat the first wave of Atlanteans, but then a second wave comes because why not? Meanwhile, the Birds of Prey can't find a way into Gotham, as all the ways Harley knew of, Grayson must have found and blocked. Harley then says, so my plan didn't work, and you don't have one. Now we're running out of time and food. We have to just go over the water. Black Canary says, unless you have some secret powers I don't know about, where you can go toe-to-toe with Power Girl and the rest of them floating up there, that's a pretty stupid idea. As we see Power Girl and other powerhouses guarding the outskirts of Gotham from the air. Then back in Smallville, we see Green Arrow disguised as a tumbleweed kill 2 vampires and meets a man named Cole Cash, aka Grifter, who is captured in one of the blood farms. Green Arrow says to him he'll come back later to free everyone. Then back at sea, we see the next wave of Atlanteans are Aquaman's Royal Guard, meaning Aquaman is right behind them, which turns out to be true as he bursts out of the water trying to kill Steel, Black Manta, and Supergirl. Black Manta tells Aquaman, face me you coward, but Aquaman replies, you are no Black Manta. He died a coward's death in the first days of our conquest, and yet I find you hiding your face and pretending to be my former foe, sneaking through my domain like some lowly river eel. So I must ask you, imposter, who would dare enter a kingdom and call the king a coward? Black Manta then takes off his helmet to reveal it's freaking Mera, who answers Aquaman saying, a queen. I gotta say, that's a dope reveal. Aquaman in shock puts his hand out to her, but she says, do not speak to me as if you know me anymore, creature. Then back in Smallville, we see Green Arrow waging war all by himself against the vampires guarding the blood farm. And I gotta say, he's freaking taking out a crap ton of them, while saying, how many of you do I have to dust before the big guy comes out? But eventually, his wish comes true as Hawkman comes flying out, who is the big boss of this farm, grabbing Green Arrow and bringing him into the air. Then at sea again, Steel and Mera start attacking Aquaman, but in the ensuing battle, a weakened Supergirl gets tangled in ropes and pulled down to the ocean floor. The comic then ends back in Gotham, where we see the Birds of Prey trying to figure out what the heck their next plan of action is going to be when they're greeted by Damian Wayne Robin, who says to them, I'm your last, best, and only shot at stopping them. And with that, the issue ends. But there you have it, guys. DC vs. Vampires issues 7 through 9. This has been a really fun series. Pretty much anytime DC does an Elseworlds type story, they knock it out of the park. It's one of the things they're best at. In any case, I'm just curious to see what happens when the Birds of Prey come face to face with Dick Grayson, and what's going to happen with Aquaman at sea and Green Arrow on the Blood Farm. A lot of questions and reasons to come back for issue 10. But are you guys enjoying this series? If nothing else, it's the perfect read for Halloween. Anyway, let us know what your thoughts are down in the comments. First up for the week of October 11th, we have Venom issue 11. After the explosive revelations of Venom issue 10, the third terrifying arc of Venom begins in explosive fashion with Dylan Brock at the mercy of Bedlam. Now we have Superman Son of Kal-El issue 16. Father and son are at last reunited after the Warworld saga ripped them apart. And you don't need to have super senses to know that this reunion is well earned. Here we have The Flash, the fastest man alive issue 2. Barry struggles to balance his new job as a hero with his internship at the crime lab. The pressure starts overwhelming him literally when the monstrous molten menace called Tar Pit appears in Central City, looking to put an end to the Scarlet Speedster's interference with his family's business. Now we have Batman vs. Robin issue 2. In the wake of Damian Wayne's devastating attack on the Batcave, Bruce and Alfred are on the run and running out of time. Finally, we have our Halloween pick of the week, Spawn issue 334. And that's going to bring today's episode to a close, but if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out this one right here. And if you like all of our content, like, subscribe, and comment. It helps the channel grow. But other than that, I'll see you next time when I talk about all things comics.